Hello, you're listening to a Talking Spirit Anime-cast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
And today's episode is, we're going to talk about ReZero. We were planning on doing a discussional news coverage, all that kind of stuff. Talk about how Freren's getting a second season. Gushing over Magical Girl is getting a second season. My gosh. Oshinoko getting a third season. Like, there's the news. There you go. We just did the discussional. Super exciting stuff, cool. Right? But no, I decided, like, just literally, was it yesterday I texted you? Was it today?
It was earlier today.
I decided yesterday, and I texted Chris today. I just randomly thought, hey, I want to talk about ReZero. Because, yes, obviously ReZero Season 3 is airing right now. Chris isn't fully caught up, so we're not going to get too in the nitty-gritty on that one. Like, we're not going to talk about the latest episode, because apparently an hour and a half long premiere is too much for Chris. He can't handle it. Even though I watched the whole hour and a half, it took me, like... 4 hours to get through it because the way that I do my coverage, and then I had to record a whole video on it, edit that whole long thing, do my post, but Chris can't handle just sitting down and watching it.
Look, I came home at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Excuse.
And when I turned it on, I was all excited about ReZero.
2.5 weeks ago, you sat down at 1 a.m. and you were all excited. Go on.
I was all excited.
Uh-huh.
And I started it up.
Uh-huh.
And I had to go get a drink or something.
Uh-huh.
And I paused it.
Did you step on your dog?
No, I didn't.
Good. Okay, what else?
Because she was off to the side.
Okay, good.
And I paused it. And I looked at it and I said, this is a daggum
the dog
hour and a half. Huh?
The dog or the show?
The dog. Because you were worried about whether or not I stepped on the dog.
You looked at the dog and you said, it's an hour and a half.
No.
And the dog said,
I looked at the screen.
I'm a dog. I can't talk to you. No, for me it was like, okay, it's an hour and a half premiere. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be one of those, like, it's actually like 45 minutes or something like that. Like you add the Japanese commercials and stuff in with it or something like that. But then, no, it's like an Oshinoko thing. It's legit an hour and a half.
Yeah, I was a good 10, 20 minutes into it, and I was absolutely dumbfounded. So yeah, I've got quite a bit still to go with that, and then whatever episodes that I've missed so far. So I'm a little hesitant to jump on there because I can catch up on all the other little shows and not have to worry about those. But
yeah. You've read up to this arc, or have you gotten into this arc? Here's Andrew's fear moment right here, because I'm like very careful what I talk to him about.
Well, that's how I am with you. There's one particular character that I know about that I am a little hesitant to talk about.
Content, sadly, stuff.
Yes. I want to say to Garth, and then
Garth? Is it Garth or Garth? Is it Garth?
I got into Garth, so I got kind of the more skipped content of that particular arc, and then there is a gap from where what I had gotten through, and then it goes into I want to say this arc, but I'm not for sure because I don't know for a fact that this is what they're covering in the arc. So
you're like, it's like Mushoku Tensei for you, where you're like, you've lost a sense of what time is.
Yeah.
Chris is always like, Where's Rudius right now? Oh God, I'm not gonna answer that question. It's always scary talking to Chris because it's just like sense of time is all goofed up. So I'm just gonna avoid the conversation altogether. But no, I just really want to talk about ReZero in general because I don't think we've really done like a full on ReZero discussion, and I've always wanted to kind of sit down and discuss what really kind of makes ReZero what it is. So it's more of a general discussion. Again, we can sit here and talk about, yeah, right now he's fighting Wrath, and oh my gosh, do you see what Reinhardt did? Reinhardt's freaking hot, by the way. I love him to death. We finally got some more about him, but I mean, we could talk about the general stuff, but or what's going on currently. But I think it's more interesting to be fair. Before the season started, I'm like, I need to do a refresher. Like I know a sense of what happened, but there's like the nitty details about like the whole royal selection process and what's actually happened there that I'm more kind of vague on. So I went through and I did a full rewatch, dubbed English, by the way. I wanted to get through it quickly. Okay,
Subaru. I mean, all I have to say is Subaru.
To be fair, at 2 times speed, it's less annoying. Like I said, I wanted to blitz through it because I wanted to just get the details. I knew what happened. I've experienced the whole thing. I just wanted to let's get through it quickly, get that refresher in there. But there was honestly like so many points throughout it where it was like I wanted to quickly run through it, but at the same time I couldn't. Why? I forgot how much I freaking love the show. Like, I mean, I did give it like a 10 out of 10 when I watched the first season. I think I even give the second season a 10 out of 10. There was some stuff about the second season that was a little bit rough for me, but it's like overall, it's like, God, I kept stopping it and wanting to play at normal speed, jumping it over to Japanese Seiyus and stuff like that. And I'm like, I forgot how incredible the show is. And it was funny because it all kind of dawned on me as I'm watching it. Like, I mean, that makes sense because, like, I was a Subaru apologist. Were you a Subaru apologist? A lot of people didn't like him.
I'm a lot more tolerant of him than some other characters.
So you don't go to the realms of like, damn it, Shinji, get in the freaking I was gonna say this is gonna be I'm gonna say it anyways. Damn it, Shinji, get in the rim. Anyways, I mean, but it's one of those things where like so many people hated Subaru, but it was like I was so invested in not so much Subaru. It's not like I connect to Subaru on a personal level. It's not that I like think he's a cool guy. I mean, I would hang out with the dude, but it's not like I think that he's a stand-up guy. But that's exactly kind of why I like him as a character, is that he's frustrating. He's a frustrating dude. And again, I'm going to keep bringing this up because I think this is like, it's obviously to our listeners too, is we have a lot of Mushoku Tensei fans that are in our community. I feel like there's such a bond between ReZero and Mushoku, and that the idea that I like both main characters because they're massively flawed in different ways. Rudius is just nasty. He just starts out as a very nasty person, and he's very broken. Whereas Subaru is, yes, he has some stuff with his father from before he left, like the whole aspect of him not feeling like he is as good as his father. Everybody thinks his father is great. Was he an author or something? I'm not sure if they got into what he was. I think he said he was an author, but they think he's great. And they have high expectations for Subaru, but Subaru can't live up to those expectations. But as it went through the story, what I found that I like so much about Subaru is that the writer's willing to have him do really stupid things that make you frustrated. But it all makes sense. Key thing there. It all makes sense. Like him initially getting really upset and very paranoid about Rem and everybody after Rem hunted him down. When he left the mansion, he was trying to figure out what happened in the mansion. He was staking it out, and then suddenly Rem shows up and kills him. He's suddenly paranoid by everybody. It makes perfect sense. He literally just got killed by somebody that over so many loops he formed bonds with. And that's always been the kind of fascinating thing that I love about the series, that realization point of how much Subaru has spent time with these individuals.
Yeah.
And none of them know him. Like, at the time where Rem is killing him, he's like, but we did so many things together. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You literally just showed up with Emilia. You're showing signs of being possibly a spy. And now I'm going to kill you because you're staking out our mansion. But we did this, and this. Rem taught me this story or was teaching me how to write or whatever. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Is that paranoia stuff that I really get a dig out of?
That's even when he went ballistic on Emilia that one time. And
you're nothing without me. And it's like, oh, you're such an idiot, but I kind of understand what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's, I think, is one of the most brilliant aspects of the story is, to him, and this is why I would go ahead and quantify myself as a Subaru apologist, is to him in a lot of ways everything is one big blur of everything that he's doing. And if you take into consideration, because we're watching it from his perspective in a way. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing all this crap that he's constantly going through. All these other characters, I would really love to see kind of somebody, if somebody could really pull it off, things from the other characters' perspectives. And that would be pretty much cutting only for the the good route or the good route. Good route.
Rut.
So basically, only cutting for the Subaru completion episodes, and I think that it would make a million times more sense from their perspective, what it is that he's doing, it would drastically change the way that you feel about all these other characters.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like we technically get it most. I think the one that we get a most of sense of that is probably Rem, because it kind of sells us on why she's so dedicated to Subaru. But there is like a question mark for a lot of them is why they choose to follow him at some point. Because you get so, I think us as a viewer, we get so kind of tied into those loops and how much time he spent with each one of them. And I've always enjoyed the loops. I think the loop mechanic is super clever because it's never used in a way that's repeating it. It does repeat itself, let's be honest. I mean, how many times we have to hear the Apple guy say, "Get the hell out of here, boy." The Appas. But how many times we see that? But we get the sense of like, okay, yeah, everything that Rem did, so crazy cool. But it's like from her perspective, how much she didn't see all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff that Rem didn't see. But yes, obviously the winning route, we finally get to see him do a bunch of stuff for her, give her that encouragement and save her life. Give the whole Oni story, all that kind of stuff. We get to see that. But yeah, there's certain characters like, Beatrice and stuff like that where you do kind of wonder, like, why does she have such a bond with him? Because at some point it gets muddied exactly what she remembered. I mean, it was like kind of clever in the idea that, yes, technically he did see her that one first day before he started resetting in the mansion. So he kind of throws him off of, oh, wait, so this is the second night kind of thing. It's super clever in that regard.
And Byaku, I believe that she has some kind of a
Chidari. That was such a freaking cute scene. I love it so much. Her and little yukata. I'm sorry. That's right. You haven't seen that. Did you see that part? Mm-mm. No, you haven't seen the yukata part. Sorry, spoiler. It's so freaking cute.
I think that she has some kind of a not necessarily a remembrance, but an awareness that something is odd around him.
Oh yeah, they kind of get in that here recently.
I think a lot of the characters do.
Yeah,
a lot of them have a.
He thinks he's hiding things, but everybody's like, "Oh, he's gonna do something again, isn't he?" He's got that face. It makes sense. Like suddenly, if there's a reset and he suddenly is looking a little different, and then suddenly he looks all serious, it's like, okay, he did this before once, and last time that happened, he started doing something super crazy. So do you need help? What's going on, Subaru? Your poker face is terrible right now. We're kind of seeing through it. It's super cool. But again, going back to Subaru as a character, I do agree with you. There's like points, like especially the royal selection scene when they first come in that throne room and they start introducing all the candidates and then they bring in Felt and stuff. Freaking Subaru, shut up, dude. There is a sense here where it's like there's the shut up Subaru moments. It's really what it is. It's like the shut up Subaru moments. Like he gets so bent up about Julius, and I love how their relationship has kind of formed over time, because like him and Julius, it was obviously a jealousy thing. He was being like overly chivalrous to Emilia, and then whenever it comes to Emilia, Subaru has to act really stupid. But it's like he jokes about it at some point as being he's my love rival. For some reason, assuming that Julius has a care whatsoever with Emilia. I mean, he could, but he kind of points it as like a love rival, so he can't be his friend. It's like at some point, dude, just Subaru, shut up. Just Subaru, please shut up. You're making every situation really overly complicated when that's not the important thing right now. Like when they were after the whole situation with the whale, and then Julius shows up, and then he helps them with the witch's cult. And it's like that entire time, it's like, Felix is like, you should probably square things up with him. Like, come on, hang out with him, talk with him, make peace with him. And Super's like, I can't do that. I really can't do that. I'm like, dude's saving your butt, and you're still acting so petty. It's like, stop, dude. Again, as much as I'm a Subaru apologist, I will still admit there's times where I'm like, dude, stop. Please stop being a teenager like you physically are. I don't know. I guess it hasn't been that much time has spanned since the beginning of the season. I mean, yes, technically here recently we got a 1-year jump since season 2?
Yeah, the season
was it 6 months?
The first season start, or the third season start. It was saying something like a year.
It was like 6 months or a year. It was probably a year. But like, yeah, we had like a massive time jump there. So he's been in that other world for, I don't know, probably at least 14 months or maybe 15 months. So yeah, there was like a side of me that kind of wonders if at some point it can get to where like he's reset so many times, his mental age is going to be like just blitzing past everybody. I had a theory that popped up, and anybody, by the way, doesn't need any confirmation for anybody listening to this or in the comments section or whatever. We're just kind of chit chatting here. I did have a thought process at some point. I'm like, wouldn't it be really cool? I wonder if this is one of those series where they could have at the very end of it, or maybe the last volume or close to the last volume, suddenly Subaru dies and he shows up in front of the Appa seller. That would be like the big, I mean, it would have to be one of those moments where like he discovers the trigger of it all. Like he knows exactly where to go. Maybe it's the dragon that they talk about with the whole selection process. Maybe he figures out what the dragon is, and maybe the dragon is going to be the fix-all for everything. Maybe it stops all the witches' cults and everything that's being handled in the background. And so when he resets back to the Appa seller, he just like knows that he needs to go down the street to the right, and there's a little passageway there that takes him to the dragon, and then everything's resolved. Like that's the end. But it would be something like that. It would have to be something like that, or just maybe a fake out. Maybe just a fake out would be really super cool. Maybe a nightmare or something that somebody induces into him. That could be what it would do. Like maybe have one of the witches that he ends up coming across induces illusions, and he suddenly thinks that he's being killed and wakes up in front of the Appa. Like it shows you your worst possible thing that you'd never want to see. And that would be like at the time his big worst thing is just to have to start it all over again.
Yeah.
Or lose his progress. Literally his biggest nightmare right now is just losing progress. And so he just gets reset to the Appa seller. And he's like, boy, are you going to buy one or not? Be like, no way. Get the little chime in the back. That's such a cool little sound, dude. It's just so... It's just like the thing. It's like, it's just so stinking. But the bop is just so unsettling. Like every time it happens, it's always like a damn moment. But I don't know if a reset would be. I think it would be a fake out for sure. It could be cheap, but I can see it being really cool though. Anyways, is that everything that I want to talk about with Subaru? But no, like I said, I do get a kick out of the paranoia. I think is the biggest thing there. I really got a kick out of the paranoia stuff at the mansion. I agree with you. That moment of almost him. I think a lot in that whole situation with Emilia, it is like he just kind of is frustrated. I think he feels weak. I think that really is what that is. Because that was like right after Julius, right? He had the duel with Julius, got his butt kicked, and Emilia's like, I can't have you with me because you're doing crazy things. Yeah. She was doing it obviously to help, to kind of protect him. But it is one of those things where like, she doesn't see what he's been through, but he has this very vivid mindset that I've done all this stuff, and if it weren't for me, you'd be dead, because he's seen her die. So there is a sense here where, yes, technically what he is doing is saving her life. And it almost kind of gets in that realm of like him feeling like she is not appreciative. And she kind of acknowledges that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. like I done this stuff for you, and it's like, not really. I mean, yeah, I appreciate what you did back here, but I mean, it's not like we've been together for the last month with you dying over and over again and retrying this whole process. But I like it though. I do really like the psychological stuff that Subaru goes through. And like when I was doing my rewatch, I was actually planning on getting on with Psycholtrist and chatting with him about like the more deeper subjects on that stuff. But it's super fascinating when you really kind of start thinking about it. Because I don't think the first time I watched it, I really kind of gave it that much of a thought. But this time around, it was kind of clear as day. I think that's because it's because I've been spending so much time doing my Mushoku Tensei analysis that I think I'm more kind of receptive of the, I guess, deeper thought processes the characters have.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the first time I watched it, it was kind of, I understood why Subaru's kind of getting wigged out and crazy, but not like the deeper aspects of it. Seeing the desperation, him groveling in front of Priscilla. It's like, can we say desperation much? Like he just literally, how did she put it? It was like she said, if you wanted my help, you have to grovel and lick my foot or something like that. And he immediately starts to do it, and she's like kicks him away, like, get the hell out of here before I beat the crap out of you or kill you. It was like she just kind of wanted to see if he'd do it, and he ends up doing it, and then she's like not happy with him because of how weak he is, how spineless he is. I mean, it's I guess at that point I would imagine that Priscilla wasn't even planning on helping him anyway. She just wanted to see what he would do. But Priscilla here recently it's been very, very interesting. I've been more and more fascinated by her as in general. I think all the royal selection. Who is your current? If you were leading the royal selection, who would you choose? Which one of the candidates is best girl? I guess is the question mark. It doesn't have to be like story related. It could just be your best girl. I have to say I would say Felt's way of kind of handling everything here, like especially here recently.
I like Anastasia.
The merchant girl.
Yes.
I do too.
I think that she's
probably the best candidate.
I
like
in
in
general.
general. Like Krush, yeah, before she lost her mind, before she lost all her memories, Krush was a very strong leader, but I agree with you.
Yeah,
and
each one of them has their own. Each one of them has their own kind of thing that they
Priscilla
present.
is like connections and like the underbelly. Felt is the people, the discarded essentially.
Yeah.
Krush is strength through unity and power. Anastasia is obviously connections, communication, and money. I think they said essentially here with the opening of the first episode of season 3, they did mention the idea of like giving an update to everybody, and yeah, that's when they mentioned that Felt's been kind of recruiting people, and it was like they mentioned. I don't think they ever recalled them mentioning it before, but it was like initially when they started the royal selection process, everybody was just looking to Anastasia and Krush. Those are the two candidates. Everybody else was just like, yeah, I guess because they've been selected, they're there, like they're chosen ones or whatever. But this is the two important ones. But then obviously things happen with Krush, and then Subaru did all the stuff they did with Emilia. So now Emilia's coming up, and I don't think they ever mentioned that Felt's doing anything. Priscilla's got a lot of connections; she's starting to come up as well. But yeah, I agree with you. I think if I was looking aside from like waifus and whatnot, I would probably say Anastasia, just because I think that, of course, I don't know the full politics of the kingdom. I mean, I'm certain that the novel's probably a lot more detailed about the state of the kingdom itself.
Well, Anastasia is kind of like Krush kind of was. Krush had the power to back herself up, whereas Anastasia
what is the
just
deal with
conniving.
Krush?
And
She's like, is she just like a duke's daughter, like a really powerful family that has a massive army or something? Because she has a lot of fighters.
Yeah, she had the power to back it up, but she herself was powerful enough to get those people in line. Whereas Anastasia, she's just conniving in the background, and that's why I like her. She's just
well, Anastasia has Mimi, so she's got power too.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the cat kitties, the kitty kids, and they're super OP.
If I remember right, Priscilla was just rich. Oh, because but that was mostly
she got
because
inheritance. They've only mentioned the idea that she inherited a bunch of money. She started making a lot of connections. She is winning over a lot of men and is using them to kind of spread her power. So her strength through manipulating men. But yeah, I do have to admit that I think there is a side of me that I want to, as a person, support Felt, because she's, in a sense of leadership, she is the one that shouldn't be there, but you kind of want there just because they don't want to be there. She is literally the I don't want to be there leader, which, yes, in a lot of cases you kind of see as being a good leader because they don't want to be there for the sake of the power. They don't want to be there for the sake of the benefit. She's literally being roped in the situation because Rom came in to try to help her. But no, she gets roped in the whole situation. Plus, she has Reinhardt next to her. Mm-hmm. And I really like Reinhardt. But no, it's like, I do want to kind of support her because she's the every person. She's the one that's bringing the people out of the gutter. She's supported by those that were discarded by society. And you kind of, I like how she's, what did she say? It was like, I'm gonna win this, and then I'm gonna destroy the kingdom or something like that. Like she literally tells them, whatever, you want me to be this? Sure, okay. But if I win, I'm gonna destroy everything. It was almost like her saying, don't vote for me because I'm gonna destroy everything. But I guess they haven't really technically got into what the royal selection is. I'm assuming it goes to a vote because there was a lot of emphasis on gaining the favor of people and looking good and presenting yourself good. And obviously with what Subaru's doing for Emilia, it's in improving the Emilia camp. So I would assume it's a voting system. I'm not sure exactly if it's like just the royal court decides. Is it the people that vote? I don't know if they've kind of gotten to the details of that with the novel. Mm-mm. But or maybe the dragon chooses. I don't know. Maybe the dragon chooses. But no, I agree with you. I would probably say Anastasia would be like, probably if I was in that royal court, I would probably choose Anastasia. If from a fan standpoint, I would probably say Felt, just because I just really like her character. I mean, of all of them so far, I think I like Felt the most. I do like Emilia, but not as much as I like Felt. I just like Felt's personality. Like, especially here recently with the recent episode with Reinhardt being confronted and this whole thing with the Austria family coming to the surface. Just how Felt has grown so much over the last year, obviously, and how she just kind of kept a level head there and just said, keep your chin up, Reinhardt. We're going to handle the situation. We're going to get your family name and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, this girl has grown so much, and I'm just more curious. I guess I was more curious to see what she would do. Like, I would be very curious to see what she would do as a leader. I mean, again, I like Krush, but Krush is kind of in that situation where I kind of just want her to focus on helping herself now, which they're obviously doing right now with Anastasia, inviting them for that information on gluttony. But gluttony needs to die. I want my Rem back.
Right?
I want my Rem back. Rem's always been my favorite character of the entire series. Who's your favorite character overall?
Bianco.
Oh yeah, that's a given. Bianco's like a really close second for me. Really close second. And then probably Ram after that. Maybe.
I always put Rim and
her
Ram.
Story was
I always
really
put
good.
Rim and Ram in this.
Don't
kind of...
cheat. Don't cheat. I just put them together.
I did. I mean, they were inseparable for so long, and
until
things got kind of psycho. So
until gluttony happens, I'm so mad that's still a thing. It's like, gosh, what was it? Somebody was talking about it's. Oh yeah, I seen a post the other day. There's a new figure coming out for Rem, and they're like, it's so crazy that a character that's been in a coma for years for the anime series is getting more figures than the main characters in the show. Like, you have all these characters doing, Reinhardt's doing crazy stuff, Subaru's doing crazy stuff, Byaku's finally at the forefront, she's like in the focus right now, but then they're like, oh, introducing a new figure, Rem. She's literally back at the mansion sleeping, and she's still getting figures. They probably have a sleeping Rem. They've got to have a sleeping Rem figure.
Like
literally, like she's in a bed, not like, you know, a sexy pose laying on a bed sleeping Rem. They totally got to have that. I don't know. It was. After that, I would probably say Felt, and then maybe Emilia. Yeah, I'd probably say Emilia after that. Not that I hate Emilia. Emilia took me a while to like. Because I think she's cute. She's super cute. I love her Seiyu. Like, oh my gosh, Rie Takahashi, give me a break. I think she's cute early on, but I think she was too juvenile, really, for me to like. She's very pouty, and I think that's obviously for a story reason, which I'm still not certain of. I don't know how much time passed since she was released from the ice until now. Because I assume because she's a half elf that she ages slower, or at least grows physically slower. But I'm kind of curious how old mentally she is, because obviously we see everything that happened through Ekidona and the sanctuary with the trials. We see like the past situation and all that stuff unfold. But at some point she obviously goes crazy. She freezes, and then it cuts forward to the point where she wakes up and she's with Puck. and she's physically bigger. She's physically pretty close to what we are now. Then she hangs out in that forest area for a while, taking care of all the frozen citizens. And then at some point, I think Roswaal came to get her at that point, or did she leave and then Roswaal bumped into her? But she eventually ends up with Roswaal.
It seems like it was Roswaal that came and got her.
She eventually ends up with Roswaal. So my question is, how long has passed since she was in ice until now? Because my assumption right now is, it is that, like, I guess obviously with some of these goofy comments he makes, like with Subaru kissing her, like she says that she's gonna get pregnant. It's like there's a sense here of like, how mature is she mentally? How old is she mentally? Because she's obviously going for the cute character, but my assumption is the writer's doing it for a purpose. Is she just a child? Is she really that mentally mature? And I guess it all comes down to how long has passed since she woke up. And I don't think, at least with the anime, I don't think it's ever stated. It never said like, and then blah, blah, years later, I met with Roswaal and joined his whole purpose and all that kind of stuff. I'd be curious. But that's always been my issue with her, is I just don't really, again, she's cute, but I just don't. It wasn't until the Sanctuary that I ever really cared much about her, really. I think the Sanctuary story was super good. I meant not the trial story.
I find it, because Emilia is an interesting character in general, because it's one of those, you kind of wonder how much of Satella is affecting her. Because I think that the witches are by far the more interesting aspects rather than Emilia herself. Emilia,
yeah, the whole bit with Ekidona and her with Subaru, and then suddenly all the witches show up. I'm like, what are we doing right now? Hold on, I'm trying to absorb I just seen what was it? What was the one that made him crumble? Typhoon Pride. Like Typhoon shows up, and I'm like, okay, this girl's cute. Okay, that was really horrible what she just did there. And then suddenly out of nowhere, Minerva shows up and she freaking punches him and he's all fine. And then later on we see Les pops up and she was looking like Rem a couple of minutes ago. And then Gluttony comes walking up in this big casket. And then it's Lots over here just like, oh, what's going on, guys? I'm like, slow down. And then Satella shows up and it's like, stop. I wasn't expecting to see Satella this early. What the hell's going on here? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, they're
interesting, yes.
And that's the funny thing of wanting to know how much of Satella is actually affecting Emilia because like when she finally broke and Satella took over during the trials, it was fascinating to see kind of her mindset about what she feels when it comes to Subaru.
Well, I think that's a two-directional thing too there, because like when she was in that state with Ekidona and Satella comes in there, Witch of Envy comes in there, she's just like obsessed with him. I love you. Right. I love you. I love you. And then cut out there, and he's outside, and she's been in. Yeah, there was a point where she went full on crazy, and she's going around this cloud that's just absorbing everything. But like just the moment where she's inside the ruins or the trial ruins, and he goes inside there, and he's all jacked up. I think it was like, did he just survive the rabbits, or maybe it was Garf. He got messed up. He got transported away from somewhere. But anyways, he comes in there, he's all messed up and like collapses on her, and he's missing all these parts of his body. He's all messed up. And she's just like, yeah, I love you, I love you, I love you, love you, love you. And it's like, they both kind of talk similarly there. And it's almost like, yeah, I guess my way of saying it is, and again, not looking for confirmation here, but you kind of wonder what direction this is going.
Yeah.
Is the reason why the Witch's Envy is doing this for I won't say Rudius. Subaru is because she loves her. Like, that's what he was asking. Why me? Why are you doing this to me? Because I love you. I love you. I love you. Is she keeping him alive because she loves him? And the reason that she loves him is because there's maybe a time loop thing here where she is literally Emilia from the future who really, really loves Subaru and it's like it's a cross loop basically. Yeah. It's love that's constantly looping into itself. She loves him so much, he keeps around, which feeds him. She loves him so much because of that. It thus feeds this future self that comes back, and it keeps a constant loop, basically. That's where my mind immediately goes to, because it seemed like it was a little bit too obvious with why does Witch of Envy know him? Yeah. That's the question mark. Why does she know him? But yeah, I had that kind of question here recently with Wrath, because we had the cultist Wrath showing up, and it's like, it kind of, now this is the Archbishop's obvious, like Archbishop Wrath, and that's going to be a difference there, but there is a question mark that I have. I kind of wonder now if the witches feed the Archbishops in some way, because I almost feel like there might be a connection between the Witch of Wrath, who I still have a theory might be Emilia's mother, just because of how that kind of interaction happened between the two of them. And does that feed into the current Wrath that we have, which I have my theories on who that might be. So it's kind of an interesting little loop there that I kind of want. I guess my bigger question that I have right now, and again, it goes to what you said. I think that's the most fascinating thing about this series is that I still have so many questions.
Yeah.
The royal selections, the dragon, what? Can we talk about that a little more?
Well,
getting into the witches.
Here's what's absolutely fascinating about the storytelling in the show is by far you think you go into the first part of it and you're like, I want to know this, I want to know this, I want to know this, and then all of a sudden it's like plop, drops just big old nuclear bombs of all kinds of information, and you're like, wait, did you just give me more information or did you just give me more questions? I love the way that was all presented, because it all came out, all this information about Emilia, but at the same time, you're like, but wait, who the heck are the witches in general? Because at first you kind of think that there's just one witch that's involved with all this, and then all of a sudden you realize that there's 7 different witches, the seven sins.
Yeah, because I think the first time that we ever really kind of talked about them was when where he was looking at the storybooks. And he brought up the Witch of Envy, and Ram didn't want to talk about it. She's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. She left. And he was looking at it, and he was like talking about how the Witch of Envy sealed away the other ones. And it was like, okay, so I'm guessing we're never going to see these other witches. And then here they are, like I said. And then that just creates a massive amount of question marks. Like, I think the most puzzling thing for me was when they went through, they sort of implied the witches were good to exist. And you assume they wouldn't be, because our first impressions is Envy. This chick's crazy. She's evil. She's putting Subaru through all this crazy stuff. And then it goes through each one of them, and it explains how each one of them was almost creating a ecosystem for mankind to be happy. Mm-hmm. Like Gluttony creating the rabbits that were going around consuming and being fed on by the people. She didn't want people to be hungry, so she created a whole bunch of rabbits, and they just keep spreading. They're endless. Well, they were hungry. I wanted them to have rabbits. Yeah, but the rabbits also eat people. That's a bad thing. Well, yeah, it kind of happens, but they have food, right? Like it doesn't matter.
Well, I think the way she
Minerva
put it was it
creates pain to heal.
Isn't it right for them to want to stick up for themselves or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. But like it goes through it went through every single one of them, and it was like, yeah, Minerva inflicted pain because she wanted to remove harm or whatever. Like it's just like every one of them is so interesting, because it seems like their desire is to help mankind. It sort of gives, I guess it gives an impression that they just are kind of misguided with it.
I think that the way that it's kind of presented to me, at least, is almost this balance aspect.
Yeah. Creating balance.
There's always a downside to every. I kind of an old Western film of the Wishmaster, which is a Djinn, which is
Djinn, a Djinn?
Yeah, he loved the idea of granting a wish because he wanted to see how it would turn out. So he and everybody would say, no, don't take those wishes, because the wishes were always kind of this. It was given it to you, but is it really what you want? And I think that this is kind of how the witches kind of work out in my head is they're presenting some kind of a solution to a problem, but there's always kind of a flip side, and you're always questioning, is the flip side really worth the good? And I think that that's one of the cool things about what the witches do. I think that there's this kind of balance in interplay between, because I think that the witches in themselves are good, but they kind of don't have the repercussions that normal man does.
Yeah.
And so since they don't have those repercussions, they don't have to worry about what it is that they are truly causing. That's why I find the bishops interesting, is what is it about the bishops that are so mirror to what those characters are? Because the witches in themselves don't seem to be what the bishops are presenting.
Well, that's always been my question mark, is just because, I mean, we from the very get-go, it's talking about the witches cult. They don't seem to like Emilia. So they're all on the move the moment that Emilia really becomes like at the forefront. And then suddenly the whole royal selection stuff happens, and suddenly the witches are moving. Well, at least Petelgeuse is moving. And that whole situation starts happening, and then like there's this fear always that of having her anywhere near them. And then we get the whole backstory stuff with the trial, and that starts to get into, Pandora suddenly shows up. You have what was the other dude that he just recently popped up again? I forget what his name is. They all show up in order to unseal something, to gain something. Regulus. So you have greed and Pandora, which was vanity. Which that one was a vanity is not the 7 deadly sins, right? That's outside of the 7 deadly sins. That would be the 8th, right? Or isn't there like a 7 deadly sins and there's a 9?
Vanity would be tied in with pride, I would assume.
Yeah.
Vanity is loving yourself, so it would be tied in with pride, I would think.
But why would they call? I guess that would, because they're calling Subaru pride, or at least they think he's pride. Petelgeuse thought that he was pride.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they've actually shown an actual pride, so I guess he could be. But he could be. But why would Petelgeuse say that if Pandora, the Witch of Vanity, if she literally was, if she basically seemingly turned Petelgeuse into Sloth, the Archbishop of Sloth, why would Petelgeuse then ask Subaru if he's Pride? If literally the Witch of Vanity, if she was Pride, unless she's not an Archbishop, I guess. Well, she's called I don't know. Well, she could be an actual witch? Question mark. Because I don't know if they called her an Archbishop. She could be an actual witch. I guess I never thought about that.
The 7 deadly sins might be the actual, like, the prime witches type thing.
Right, but what I mean is, do you think Pandora is an actual witch, not an Archbishop? Because like, I have this happen every now and then where I mistakenly will say,
well, Pandora
witches
is
or
the
they're
one
archbishops.
Who releases the evils. So,
well, that's what my question mark is, because I don't think they ever said what was sealed.
No.
No, I'm saying to the story. I'm saying she's trying to release something right now. And I'm kind of wondering if it could be a nod there. Yes, Pandora's box. Yes, I understand. But I'm wondering if thematically the writer is basically the idea of like the fact that Pandora seems to be obsessed with getting this door open. But I don't think they ever said what's in the door, right?
No.
The assumption is it's Witch of Envy. Or maybe possibly just the witches.
Possibly.
I wonder. Because it's interesting that they've never gotten back to that. I mean, the assumption is that Emilia obviously has the key to it. She can create the key, but what's behind the door? Because I think they just mentioned that they were trying to keep it safe.
I would wonder if all of the witches are inside of Emilia.
I mean, it could be that that's all. Because, I mean, was that really the past, and was it just a fabrication? Because, I mean, they sort of indicated the idea that a lot of that stuff was fabrication. Like the worlds that could have been. That was a super cool segment, by the way. I kind of like that thought process there of like all these deaths where he in some cases chose to die, and he left behind, people suffering. Which here recently with what happened with one one of these resets here in episode 3 is like, I would love to see that one. I kind of want, it's twisted and it's really screwed up, but I kind of want to know what happens after that reset.
And I love the fact that shows that a lot of the witches are outside of the loops, so they're very aware of what Subaru is doing.
That was another curious thing. We're running down so many rabbit holes. The fact that him being there, he was able to essentially escape the Witch of Envy, but yet the Witch of Envy is there. Like, he's able to tell Ekidona that he can return by death, and yet the actual Witch of Envy is there. So that makes me believe that the one that's making him reset and that's grabbing him whenever he talks, it's a later one. That's another reason why I think it's something else. It's so weird that kind of plays out that way. Because again, I mean, yes, technically they were. How did she put it? That she was allowing them to take her spot, but then that didn't work out either because they all showed up at some point. Because she said that she had to call to them, and then oops, Typhoon showed up instead of who were they trying to call that? He was trying to call Gluttony because he was trying to figure out how to stop the rabbits.
Right.
So she was going to call Gluttony. She's like, okay, let me go call for her. And then Typhoon showed up instead. And then again, Minerva showed up. And like I said, everybody showed up. So it was like, but it's not really a taking place thing. They're all there. I think she was lying to him or something like that. But again, Envy's there. And yet he was able to talk to Ekidona and not have to worry about him being stopped from saying it. It's kind of interesting. Again, I kind of wonder if Witch of Envy that was there is maybe a past Witch of Envy. And then the one that's stopping him from saying anything and keeping him resetting is a future Envy. Possibly, again, Emilia. It goes back to that. It's like there's so many... This is what I will say. I love Mushoku Tensei, obviously. Love it to death. I like Mushoku Tensei because of, like, psychological trauma, the characters, all that kind of stuff, flawed characters, really kind of diving into characters making mistakes and whatnot, and building up from rubble. I like ReZero more for the mechanics in the world.
It's
Super
one of those
interesting.
funny things is I could see those balancing out between the two of us. It's like I love Mushoku Tensei mostly because of the character study aspect of it, whereas I love this because it's story, and I could see us kind of flipping literally because of that.
Yeah, like if I look at this show, if I go just based on the anime, because I haven't read ReZero, I've read almost done with Mushoku. We're getting there. Was it 26, right? 26 volumes, Mushoku? So 23, 24,
yeah, roughly.
25, 26. So I got 4 more volumes left. Oh my gosh. And then I got all the side stuff, obviously. But anyways, just going based on the anime alone.
You're still promising to do Old Dragon's Tale first, right?
I have to do that one before
Yes,
any of the other side
before
stories, you mean?
anything else. That is the one that I want you to read.
But does it need to be read first, or is it like going to mess up one of the other side stories?
No, it's just that one's the one that I want you to read first.
Oh, okay. But you don't watch my Mushoku Mondays, so I'm gonna give.
I will watch that Mushoku Monday.
But no, that's not the point. I'm gonna let the community decide because they're the ones that are supporting me.
Okay, everybody support Old Dragon Tale. I think that they're all going to be on the same page as me because that is the one that is the best.
But like just going based on just the anime, I can't say that there's a character I feel was so well done as like a Paul character in ReZero. I don't have a Paul character there.
No.
I mean, I like characters. I like their individual
that I could
arcs,
see
but
as
nothing that's that complex.
The closest I could see as a father figure type thing would probably be Wilhelm.
Not just father. I'm just talking about
no.
Wilhelm. Yeah, is definitely kind of in that same vein, but just a complex character. Mm-hmm. Like his story is super good. Like I got more from the novel series, obviously getting a little bit more into his past and all that stuff, but just as him a character, such a good freaking character. And yeah, it's the same with like Zenoba, and it's the same with characters like Ellen Elise. There's no Ellen Elise character in the show. I connected and bonded and got so much more character from Mushoku Tensei, just from the anime.
Mm-hmm.
With this one, I don't have characters like that. I do like the characters a lot.
World mechanics and interesting things.
Yeah, it's like it's just there's such a massive cast of characters, and they're all super cool in their own right. Just nothing that levels. It's just everything else is what's super fascinating. But yeah, it's just I can go on and on about the witches, and I'm super curious as to what. And again, what's the connection to the archbishops? Obviously, again, since there is seemingly, I'm assuming Pandora's leading the archbishops? ? I don't know. I mean, she definitely was more power at the time. Seemed like she was more powerful than Regulus. The archbishop agreed. But is she leading him? Because it seemed like he was snapping back at her, and that's what made her send him off to his harem. She's weird because it almost implies that she controls reality.
Yeah.
Like she literally is like, oh, right now you're back at your harem right now. And literally everything that he had done was undone. Like it was like he was never there. It was almost like she went back and she rewrote the story that he never came here. And thus all the damage and everything was gone. Now, granted, that could be that she undid that stuff too after sending him back. But it almost made it imply that she literally unwrote him being there. And it was kind of weird. But yeah, she freaks me out. Like, and again, she's kind of technically playing in a current theory that I have. But I'm just waiting for the moment that she's possibly going to show back up. And it terrifies me. I mean, even characters like Regulus showing up again with the first episode was like suddenly they walk by him like, we're not doing this right now, are we? There's another thing I'll give this writer. And it could be just more in the idea of the anime adaptation. I am terrified at characters. Like, these characters terrify me. Like, Regulus terrifies me. Elsa terrified me. Like, again, I think a lot of it has to do with the adaptation. I think the portrayal of villains in this story is super good. I mean, yes, technically with Mushoku Tensei, like, Orsted was freaking terrifying. Such a good introduction for his character.
Well,
but like even a character like Ekidona, like yeah, technically I make my joke where I would love to have tea with her, slurp, but even she at some point becomes terrifying. Like just the idea of making the pact with her, sign a pact with me and everything like that. She's like that desire for that everything of his, that greed.
Yeah,
she starts getting all crazy, and it's like, okay, suddenly it's just like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this pact with you.
Well, and that's I mean, I think that they present that well. Every time that they have a character, it's every character is topping another character. And you're always like, how are they pulling that off? Because it's not like they're making characters just so absurdly OP that you're oh, well, of course they're that OP. No, they feel real logically.
Well, it's like Reinhardt.
Powerful.
Reinhardt makes sense.
Yeah,
like our first introduction of Reinhardt fighting was with the whole situation with Elsa, and what'd they say? He can't use his full power right now. Well, why? Because right now she's trying to heal him, or was it Felt or Ron? One of the two of them were hurt, and so Emilia was trying to heal them. And then that made it to where Reinhardt couldn't do anything. Like, he knew that if he started using his abilities, it would draw the mana. Like, they kind of put it as if him basically being a mage killer. He draws the mana from his surroundings, so he's not good to be around other casters. Byako says that at some point. If you bring Reinhardt, I can't be on the front line. I can't be on the battlefield with him. He literally makes me like he turns me into a little cute girl. I'm nothing in that battlefield. So there's no point in bringing him. So yeah, it kind of gives a little bit of a downplay to him. I like how he recently kind of makes it out as if even if he's super OP and he's so freaking cool, the current situation, can he even resolve it? That's the cool stuff there. I agree that there's still sort of, I guess limitations.
Yeah.
Limitations given to things. I do.
I mean, seeing Wilhelm attacking the whale, it was you could tell he's freaking beast, but he's got limitations. Every character has some kind of a, dang, they're really strong, but they're just not quite there to where you go, yeah, he's OP. I guess Pandora would be closest that I would say is...
Garf was super freaking OP last season. And then Reinhardt stops his punch with his palm. Like, Garf... I mean, that was the whole thing. Like, Frederica, she's, like, super cool, like, beast mode and all that kind of stuff. And she's kind of getting her butt kicked by Elsa. And then suddenly Garf shows up. Now, they sort of imply the reason that Garf was able to do what she couldn't was merely because he brought that gauntlet. This gauntlet, apparently, they used to play with all the time. He brought that. And he's like, so I got this gauntlet. That means I can handle the situation. Go help everybody else. Frederica decides to go help them out. And he takes down Elsa. And I've always thought, I still think Elsa's alive. I'm convinced Elsa's still alive. Because, like, they've shown her die so many times and it never, like, she just somehow pops back up. Like, that whole reset where literally he's running off with Byakko and then suddenly Elsa shows up and, what was the other girl's name? Millie? Was that her name? The girl from the village. She shows up. Her Elsa's sister. I think they were supposed to. I think they're just like sisters, like not blood sisters. But anyways, so they're both there, and then suddenly, Beatrice like blasts Elsa, and it's like she was completely obliterated. But then she shows up and stabs Beatrice, and it was like, wait, okay. Then later on, we find out that she's a vampire. I'm like, okay, so she's a vampire, so she's regenerating herself somehow or whatever. And then she fights Garf, and he crushes her? ? And I'm like, so she's dead? ? And then here recently, Garf is like literally losing it. Like he gets stopped by Reinhardt, and he's doubting himself. He thinks he's weak. So now he's got this big issue right now with his strength. And then suddenly out of nowhere, he starts seeing Elsa. And I'm like, I was right. Elsa's still alive. No, he's literally just feels like he got lucky. To your point there, I love that sense there that he doesn't feel like he's... Because Elsa's been a threat for 2 whole seasons. Like, every time she shows up, it's a gut punch. Like, this chick crazy. And then Garf squishes her, and that's it? Like, this can't be it. She gotta be around. He even himself believes that he got lucky. It's not Elsa telling him he got lucky. He's telling himself that he got lucky. There's no way I could have beat Elsa. This is the Gut Ripper. No way I could have beat him. I got lucky. That is really cool. I do appreciate that sense there. Julius was another one where it keeps down. Julius himself downplays himself, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't think he's that strong. I think that might be more because he, I don't know, he's just so overshadowed by Reinhardt. Because they're both from the same knighthood.
He's the one that's the light guy, right?
The purple hair, yeah. The one that was, he's a spirit user. He's a spirit user, the one that was helping.
Then Reinhardt is the one that uses the power from the light.
Reinhardt he draws mana and uses it, yes. Is it light? I don't even know if it's ever classified as light. But yeah, Julius was the one that was helping him. He helped him beat Petelgeuse. He had to let him use his that was right. He used his spirit powers to, because he only uses lesser spirits. Because even later on when he meets Beatrice, he's like super like bowing to her and everything, acknowledges how great she is. But yeah, he had to, like, because he couldn't see Petelgeuse's arms, he had to use the spirit powers to basically be able to see through. I don't know if he was spirit powers or whatever, but he used an ability to see through Subaru's eyes, which that was a cool little bit. Dude got some mad he must have been practicing that, because I could see fighting something through somebody else's eyes, like third person. That would be really difficult. I give him mad credit for that one, but super good though, super good. What else? What are the characters I want to talk about? Beatrice's story was super hard to get through again.
I absolutely loved it.
Like, there was 2 things, doing a rewatch, there's 2 things that are hard to get through. It was hard to get through. Getting through the whole whale thing wasn't as difficult this time, and it was maybe because I was doing 2 times speed. But getting through the first time, I kind of remember that the whole whale thing took quite a bit of time. But yes, getting through Rem getting pretzeled by Petelgeuse, that's always difficult to get through.
I can see that.
Obviously, yeah. There's three. Obviously, I love Emilia. That scene still infuriates me. It is the worst scene ever. I literally want to strangle Subaru through the screen. It's not because he doesn't pick Rem. It's not really because he doesn't pick Rem. It's just the way that it's worded is really what bugs me. Because it's literally him going, Rem, let's run away. What do you mean? Oh, you have an idea. You have some plans and maybe somebody that can help us. You want to go get some recruits somewhere else? No, let's just go. Let's just go. And Rem's like kind of accepting it. She literally goes, yeah, I had these dreams of going out there and we have a nice family. We'll have like 3 kids or whatever. You'll work and I'll do this and we'll make enough for a house and everything. She lays it all out. She's madly in love with him. What bugs me is that he's like,
and that's a nod to the extra chapter, I want to say.
Well, it's from what I understand is that's where she says yes, let's go. But anyways, he literally says that he's scum. He's dirt. Nobody should like him. I'm weak, blah, blah, blah. He literally just buries his own face in the ground. And then she literally picks him back up and says, but you're my hero. I like you because of this. I like you because she literally lifts him back up with all this praise of why he's a good person and why he is strong and why he is her hero and gets him back on his feet. And how is it worded? It was literally how it was worded that frustrated me. He's like, Rem, yeah, what is it? I love Emilia. Dude, you have to say that right now? Like, it is one of those moments where it's like, say, thank you, Rem. I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. Just so you know, I can't reciprocate that or something. Just leave that out of the picture. You don't even have to mention that. And then later on say that I love Emilia. Don't say I love Emilia after she just divulged that information to you and lifted you back up on your feet. That's what irritates me about the whole scene. Anyways, crappy scene. I love it. It's a beautiful scene, but I hate that last line. It's just so stupid. What was I going with this? Oh yeah, the scenes that I don't like. What was the one that I was thinking about? Was Beatrice. The last one is really kind of it's really that whole arc with Beatrice because it literally is. I respect how Subaru handles it in a way. Like, again, I think it comes down to how he words it because there's almost a plot armor aspect to it where he literally goes, no, I'm not that person. And she literally kicks him out. Where it's like, again, how you word it. You don't have to say plainly, no, I won't be that person, and then infuriate her so she kicks you out. You go, I want to help you. Are you that person? Beatrice, I want to help you. I want to take you out of here. I want to be there for you. Not, I won't be that person. And again, it's like all in like wording that just completely makes the situation so much worse. And it's like, Subaru, you really need to learn how to talk to people. You just really suck at talking to people. That's really what it is. I'm surprised that you have any friends without your response of this stuff. But yeah, Beatrice just like breaking down, kicks him out. He has to go down that basement door and everything's on fire and he's literally just trying to get out of it. Everything's falling apart and she's just crying her eyes out. It's super good.
It's so funny because the way that Andrew's putting those scenes, it's I agree and disagree. It's those moments of Subaru being, or the scenes being the greatest scenes and the worst Subaru fails at the same time.
That's why it's so great.
Because I absolutely love the Subaru capturing, recruiting Byakko. I thought that a lot of those scenes were absolutely fantastic. And yet they're, like Andrew's saying, I kind of agree. They're the worst Subaru fails ever.
I mean, he fixes it in the end. He always ends up fixing it in the end, obviously. But it's like, you could have worded that better.
I wonder if it was the whole thing with Rim kind of going into her sleep mode. If it was,
You act like somebody pressed start and hit sleep mode. Da-da-da-dum. You're like, where's the power button? Wake up.
best girl in a bed.
Rami, you not wake up on USB?
I wonder if that
Best
was
girl in a bed. Yeah, there you go.
I wonder if that's
She's a permanent body pillow. He goes there on a regular basis to have a body pillow. She just sits there, just lifeless, just like a body pillow.
I wonder if that was necessarily to open up the spot of kind of his support character for Byakko.
I do, yeah, probably. Which I hope means that now that we're doing some stuff with Beatrice, maybe we can wake up Rem again, and we'll have two.
Well, I was.
I mean, they kind of Puck. They had to pull Puck out of the situation just to make Emilia have to stand on her own 2 feet.
Yeah, in all actuality,
and that was like that was Roswaal's plan. So, according to Keikaku, there, yeah, Subaru, you have to help her. You can't rely on that Puck anymore. Yeah. Money. I love him.
I love him and I hate him at the same time.
I love him so much and I hate his guts. Yes. Dude, him and Rem is just such a good story. Ugh.
Ram. I was actually really surprised where they took Ram. I actually really kind of like it. I wonder if it's going to stay that way. I really do. But as it.
But her and Roswaal?
Roswaal, I don't know that I see him continuing through the entire story.
No, what I mean is, what you were saying them continuing with Ram the way that they're doing it. What are they? What do you mean by that?
Like I said, I don't see Roswaal continuing through the entire story. I think Roswaal is an interesting curtain puller.
He's connections is really all he is. He was the whole second season is him manipulating the whole situation to make Emilia stronger, and he has some weird like he sees something in Subaru that he's going to be the key they need, and so he connects things. Like he totally connected things with Subaru. Like every time Subaru would say something, Roswaal would pick up on it. Wait, this time? What do you mean this time? Wait, I said that before? No, I don't think I've ever said that to you. Like he's quick. Like he's picking up on how Subaru's talking. And that's why. And so he figures he can place everything on Subaru, and so he's trying to break Subaru. And there's it almost feels like he kind of sees a bit too much than he should be seeing, but I kind of just attribute that to him being he's essentially like this generation of people.
Well, and if you realize what I'm saying, he pulled the curtain back a little bit for Subaru. So and the viewer, he said, yeah, here, look, this is what's back behind here. And now he's not necessarily a character that you can have somebody like that all the way through the story.
No, what I was getting to is that I think he played a pinnacle part of season 2, and now he's probably going to be a background character because, yeah, he's obviously currently is not at the location they're at with season 3.
Well,
he's doing a lot of the connections for the nobles and stuff like that. He's the guy that's talking to the boring people that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, he's important where he is right now. But he still has to have his counterbalance. So right now he's in this neutral place, but he technically is he feels like a character who has to have his moment of glory, and then we'll see him move on. I don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, as it stands right now, I think that he's done his most important part.
Well, yeah, I mean that kind of goes to. I mean, I can agree with that at the same time, because I was gonna 100% agree with you, but at the same time, we've seen characters where it feels like we've kind of seen them do their thing and that they should go to the background, but then yet they come back. I thought we got Wilhelm's stuff done, and then here we are bringing Wilhelm back to the forefront again. So I can't really 100% agree with that, but yeah, it does feel like obviously the entire second season was literally getting into his entire past, into his with everything with Beatrice was kind of showing every generation of him coming to the current one, which was supposed to be like the rebirth of the one that was with Echidna. Getting that whole stuff with Echidna, like it was all that stuff. So yeah, I agree. It kind of feels like we've seen literally everything of his story. Like it feels like we fleshed him out, and now we're currently is obviously the reformed Roswaal, the one that has a spell placed on him that if he betrays them, he dies. Okay, yeah, all right. So I guess he's not going to betray anybody, boy. But no, he can't die. I will say that he can't die because then that will make Ram sad. I don't want Ram sad again. That whole thing with her fighting Roswaal is like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to see Ram cry anymore. I don't want to see the super snooty Ram cry anymore. Her brief scene in the third season was great, though. He walks up there. How indecent. He sees Subaru walking up with his two lollies. They translate it Kitty Mancer, and everybody's mad. They call him Kitty Mancer in season 3, and everybody's mad because apparently the fan translation was Lolly Mancer. So you have to. So they should have subtitled it Lolly Mancer. They should have known this old translation was Lolly Mancer, and so they should have said Lolly Mancer, not Kitty Mancer. Anyways, there's the weirdest things that people make drama out of on Twitter. It's so crazy. It's like at some point I just got tired of it. Like I could make YouTube content on that stuff 24/7, but it's like I just don't care. I think you people make the weirdest stuff out of the weirdest stuff. It's not a big deal. Of course, I get it all the time with Michiko Tensei. They translated this wrong. Did they? Or is it just that the web novel fan translation said that? Anyways, what are the characters? Otto has always been an interesting character. Like I like him, but I mean, obviously, second season he was kind of a hero. Like the dude. There's a side of me that's like I don't get why Otto is.
Don't hate him.
No, I'll be honest. As much as he's kind of a bro character, I don't get why he does that sometimes. I still have question marks around him. Like, I don't fully trust him. Like, I understand that he was trying to get in good favor with Subaru and them because he wanted to get connection to Roswaal. But at some point, it's like, this dude's sticking his neck out. I at least appreciate back when, like, the first time they ran into the well, he kicks Subaru off the mount. Let's be truthful. This dude hasn't always been a bro. Back there, he pushed Subaru off to die. So he hasn't always been Subaru's bro, which that does kind of lead me to believe that, okay, maybe he's not secretly working against Subaru, that he grew to like Subaru. He grew to want to help Subaru. He wasn't always trying to help Subaru. But, yeah, he's kind of the bro character. Which technically Garf is kind of joining that realm. We got the two bros now.
Garf is getting over there. It's. I think that's an interesting tidbit. After the year, he technically became like a secretary, so he's changed. I kind of agree. I didn't trust him at first. I kind of just, okay. I can kind of see what he's there. Huh?
It's the outfit. You can't trust guys in outfits like that.
It's the merchant thing.
He got like this kind of like shady merchant outfit going on.
I think that I kind of accepted him somewhere in the Garf tidbit where he's like, look,
his story.
I'm trying to be your friend here. And it was like, okay, I guess I can kind of just give it, because it did actually feel like a moment of, we're both going to die unless you start accepting that I'm here to help you. And it was, okay, I can kind of see that. When the characters have nothing else to kind of Yeah, the throwing him off
He handled Garf really well. I mean, there was a side of me that was like, he should be dead already. Garf is like super freaking strong, but I mean, Otto being a traveling merchant, I'm betting he probably ran into some crazy stuff in his travels, so I'm guessing he had to be quick on his toes. I mean, and yes, it gets into his ability and his ability to talk to the creatures and whatnot, but still, it's like, dude is holding his own. Garf is getting ticked off. You better not get caught or he's probably going to kill you. But Garf, good boy, so he didn't. Garf, good boy, so he didn't kill him. Yeah, I trust him now, but because obviously we've had such a time skip, and he's basically become like their secretary. Like he's literally sitting down Emilia and giving her like a full on royal selection update and working in that role. But I don't know. Early on, I didn't trust him. I thought this dude was out to shake something up. I don't know. Out for his own benefit, I guess is the best way to put it. What other characters? I miss Petra. Petra disappeared. She got left behind. Felix. Best boy. Best girl, best boy, Felix. Let's spend an hour talking about Felix. I do like Felix a lot, though. It's just like one of the best boy, best girls characters I think that we've ever really had in a series. Just super mischievous, always trying to throw off Subaru. I think it was like that whole point where like Subaru kind of gets overtaken by Sloth, was like trying to take over his body, and then he's like running away from everybody, and then Julius and Felix come running up there. And then you have like Felix like just breaking down because he doesn't want him to kill Subaru. I was like, I feel so freaking bad. And then they had that whole the trial of the worlds that what could have been or whatever. It just has again, just Julius is so freaking upset about the fact that he had to kill Subaru, and Felix just like breaking down in tears. But no, I like Felix's relationship with Krush, which is kind of so funny here recently, where Felix is like, Krush said something effective like, it's different for us or something like that. There's no ulterior motive, because it was getting the idea of like how Subaru was like so connected to Emilia, and then it had Reinhard with Felt, and then it pops over to Krush, and Krush is like, yeah, I guess it's good that we don't have that kind of relationship or something like that. And then Felix kind of turns, and everybody's kind of like, oh wait, she doesn't know. It's like I can assume that Krush before she lost her memories knew that Felix loves him, like loves her so much, but I guess now she doesn't realize that. So it's like, okay, I guess she's gonna have to relearn the fact that Felix likes you, man, likes you a lot. But yeah, they're super cute. But no, I liked how I think one of my favorite scenes rewatching the first and second season was definitely post the situation with Krush getting attacked by Gluttony, because they go back to their place, and we obviously have Rem's been messed up, and then he comes back out and he runs into Krush, and that's where we find out that Krush has lost her memories too. And they go into this one room and they start discussing what their plans are going forward. And I think what exactly was it they were planning? Oh, I think it was the fact that he was going to be going off to, what exactly was it? Subaru had to go or whatever, and he was thought that they were going to be working together still. And Felix was literally like, no, we're not helping you anymore. Like, Felix's whole priority at that point was Krush. Wanted to help Krush. Didn't want to put Krush in any more danger. And that was like I mean, obviously got the indication already, but that was the moment where it really felt like their love for Krush was super strong, and they didn't care. It was almost like it almost felt like they were kind of getting dragged into the situation. It's just like, no, we're cutting off right now. Our deal is done. We told you we'd help you with that. We're not helping anymore. We're breaking it off here. It felt like a really. Yes, it felt like to the viewer in the situation where you felt like they need to be helping with the situation, and it felt kind of selfish that she was kind of pushing her own feelings in the whole situation, but I still can't doubt the fact that it was just a really good scene for him, so. I like. Is it Fetus or Felix? I think I think it's just two ways of saying it. It's just like Beatrice and Bianco. It's probably Fetus. Fetus. I say Felix. Sorry. I mean, this is like covering the season 3, and I keep saying Petelgeuse, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's Petelgeuse!" I'm like, it's so close. Come on, Petelgeuse, Petelgeuse or Petelgeuse. I mean, it's like a fraction of a second. I'm rolling the tongue a little bit differently. Is that big of a is that big of a deal? Of course, I understand the outrage on me saying Remedu instead of Rimuru. I mean, I can see that being frustrating because I'm obviously talking about the main character of the show over and over again, but it happens. It happens. I've come to accept to ignore people that are upset about ways things are pronounced for the most part, just because I've done Mushoku Tensei novel analysis for so long. People hate how I say Petelgeuse so much. They really hate it. They hate how I say Atof as well. Even though I've never seen any official way of pronouncing the word Atof. But apparently somebody believes there's a proper way of saying it. Gotcha. Google has no idea. So if Google doesn't know how to pronounce Atof, I'm going to say that there's no proper way of saying Atof. But Petelgeuse I do based off of what Armanfi said in the first season. He said Petelgeuse. So I say Petelgeuse. I don't care what the hell you have to say. That's how I say it. Now, Ghislaine took me a while to kind of adjust to. I think I was saying Ghislaine or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I, again, went and checked the anime, and that's how I say it. Edis. People hate how I say Edis. That's how it says in the anime. The only one that says, like, Edisu was her grandfather. Because he literally had to yell it, and so he said it like properly across the board, but everybody else says Edis. So I say it that way. I don't say Eris. I don't know where you get Eris from. I think it's like this whole thing where, like, because it's based on names that are from like a certain language, that everybody expects you to say it that way. But I always default to Japanese. That's like a lot of the names in ReZero really are not Japanese.
It's very difficult to say them in your head. So
it's an oddity.
I got so much kick out of having that stupid revelation of what Ram keeps calling him, the Barasu.
Oh yeah.
It's just she's flipping his kana. It's so stupid that it took me that long to figure out what she was saying. She kept calling him Barasu, and I was like, okay, whatever. That's just her stupid nickname for him. And it finally dawned on me she was reversing his kana.
But yeah, I think that whole backstory stuff with Fortuna, Emilia, Petelgeuse was probably the biggest, like, I mean, there's a lot of really, like, mind blow moments or, like, expanding the universe type moments in the series. Like, for Mushoku Tensei, it didn't really take for me until, like, the whole thing with Turning Point 2. I mean, yes, Turning Point 1 was huge, but Turning Point 2 was, like, a massive moment of, like, what is this? Where is this story going? Like, it totally, everything with, like, the Dragon God Orsted and the Man God and their supposed feud and everything, it was, like, everything expanded there. But I feel like that happens quite a bit with ReZero, not to that scale, but they're sort of pulses. They're like it kind of just gradually over time something gets kind of brought into the picture and it kind of expands it more. Meeting Ekidona expands it even more. That stuff kind of happens. I think a lot of those moments happen with season 2. But yeah, just the moment Petelgeuse, like, he shows up and he's this bright-eyed boy. And he's just super nice, and he's charming. He's sitting there just, like, talking the crap with Fortuna, and you're like, oh, these two love each other. What happened to Petelgeuse? You're going, man, he's such a charmer, and, man, they're totally into... What happened to him, though? And, like, they're just hanging out with each other, and he's not supposed to see her, but then the moment he sees her, he's, like, just, like, bowing to her and everything like that, and then they're just having a grand old time, and then Pandora comes in with her... stark naked with a long t-shirt on, and she just starts fudging everything up, And then suddenly he opens that box and I'm like, okay, that's what happened to him. The entire time you're wondering, well, how did we get from here to this? How do we get from bright-eyed boy with a bright future? He's a faithful man, going to bring the supplies to the elves. Hope everything's going well. Is the door still sealed? Yeah, the door's sealed. All right, the door's still sealed. All right, good. You keep an eye on it. All right, good. See you later. Peace out. To this. That's what happened. And then, yeah, he kind of, well, it wasn't really so much the opening the box, but he kind of lets that out there. But then it's all the whole thing with Pandora just tricking him into possibly killing Fortuna. I'm saying possibly now because I have my theories right now. Killing Fortuna and then just completely losing his mind. I don't like it. I don't like it because I was like, again, back here, Rem Pretzel. This is the Rem Pretzel guy. He pretzeled my Rem. And then right here, he's a good boy. Playing tag and hide and go seek with cute little Emilia. Wouldn't do a thing to Emilia. Good question. Did Petelgeuse ever meet Emilia
I don't think
in this first season?
Do not think so.
I mean, they implied that obviously the witches cult got to her. Because they had a couple of resets, like where the one where he walks up and there's all the witches cult members all dead and out in the courtyard, and then Puck appears on top of the building and says you're late or whatever, and then frees them, and then he dies.
Because he probably would have brought up Satella. Yeah, I don't think that he met her. I don't think he would have seen Emilia. He would have seen Satella. Because he's looking through people. He's not looking at people.
There was another time. Oh, I think it was the time that he accidentally. Yeah, it was the time that he accidentally killed Emilia by saying that he was returning by death, and Envy killed Emilia instead. And then while she was dead and he was holding her, he was transported out, I think. And then I think that's when Puck showed up and said for them to keep their hands off of his daughter. And then, yeah, I think unless he technically got to her when they invaded the manor and Subaru was late getting there, and then that's when Puck showed up and killed him. I don't think we ever actually seen Petelgeuse confront Emilia that entire time, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting, because I would kind of wonder if he would even recognize her.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't think he would. I think he would.
I think he's just so screwed up. He's just so at this point screwed up.
He like I said, anytime he seems to talk to anybody, he's talking through them. He's seeing through them. He's not actually seeing them, which is what I think makes him one of the more fascinating characters.
Well, I mean that's sort of what I get a sense of each of them. Is like I almost feel like, I mean, to be honest, Regulus seems. I know this is weird. It's weird to say this, but Regulus seems to be the only of the archbishops that we've met so far that I think is the most level-headed, which is not saying much, but they're all. Petelgeuse is crazy. Sirius seems crazy. Gluttony, I don't got a sense for Gluttony yet. He just was kind of just running around eating people. I didn't really get a sense of like if he was level. It just seemed like a little gremlin running around. So I don't even know if he would be very level-headed. Regulus seemed pretty chill, but the moment that he got to fighting, he just wouldn't stop. So maybe there's something there, or he's just a type that he's going to take whatever he wants. He seemed very level-headed walking through the city when they bumped into Emilia in the first episode of season 3. But at least from Sirius and Petelgeuse, for those two, what a sense I'm getting is that it almost feels like they're obsessed with something, and they keep on that thing, but they're but I get a sense from them. There's this idea of sometimes when you're obsessed with something like that, there's a reason for it. Like they have something that's very special, and that they keep harping on it, and so it seems like they're insane. But from those things they say, you can probably take a value from it. There's a semblance of sanity within the insanity. Is really what I'm saying there. And so with him, I almost want to kind of go back there with him and kind of really dig into what exactly he's saying. But yes, for the most part, it just seems like he's just obsessed with, obviously, the Witch of Envy. Like this is the thing that's most special for him, and that he seeks it out. The scripture, it's all about the scripture. The scripture is special. Do you have your scripture? Oh, I think I left it back there. He was obsessed with that book. Obsessed with the book. Yeah, that was like the other thing that I don't think the anime really told enough about, that I'm wondering if the novel has more details on, is really the what was it called? The book that Roswaal had, and that Beatrice was supposed to have one, but it wasn't really one because hers was empty or whatever, or at least it got to a point and it was empty. But the book that was supposed to tell them the future, the Book of Truth, was it called? The book of because he got it from Ekidona, right?
Yeah, he got his from Ekidona.
Beatrice did too, but it was empty at some point, so she wasn't sure what to do. Like she was supposed to wait for that person.
And it looks the same, because that's what I'm getting the impression of. Is it looks the same as Petelgeuse's, but it's not the same.
Yeah, he's got a scripture, and Subaru thought it was a scripture.
Right.
And that's why he got mad. What are you doing with that? Are you one of them? And it was like, no, it's because he got it from Ekidona. Which does make me kind of wonder, what's the tie-in there? Is Ekidona tied in with... Why would that book, if she gave it to her, be the same books? Or are they all the same? Ekidona gave that to her because it has some sort of power that will tell you some sort of future, but hers kind of became empty at some point. Maybe all of these archbishops have something that's communicating to them.
Maybe she has made a special spell that writes these things for him.
Right. That's what I'm kind of wondering. Is it sort of like a communication device, and that Petelgeuse is being told by whoever's heading the witches? Is it telling not the witches, but the cult? Whoever's heading them is communicating to them through the book, and so he thinks it's scripture being told to him by the witch, and yeah, maybe she gave that to Roswaal, knowing that that's how they communicate, so you'll know what's going on, and so he knows the future or whatever. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like interesting that they didn't get too much details, even though that does seem to be sort of very important, question mark?
Yeah.
So
I could see it that way, as something that she originally built. Maybe another witch has taken it over. Like she originally had designed them to guide hers. Another witch kind of got the same idea, used it to kind of almost effectively corrupt these archbishops in some way, shape, or form.
That's another interesting question, because like there's a side of me that almost wonders if maybe I'm missing a timetable there. But again, it kind of implied that a long time ago, the Witch of Envy sealed away the other witches, right?
Right.
Okay, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago that Ekidona was in the sanctuary trying to create an ability to be immortal. Does that mean that she hid away in the sanctuary before she got sealed? Or was she... Because she's not sealed, she's there. Or maybe her soul is sealed away. Why would she be...
She brought in the other witches to her.
Right. Almost like she was summoning them into her little...
No, she saved the other witches.
Oh, brought them in there to hide them inside the sanctuary. Mm-hmm. So now that they've opened up the sanctuary, that means they're exposed?
They're vulnerable, that's for fact.
Yeah. Because what... Well, I guess that goes to the saying. Like, does there? I love this kind of stuff. By the way, I love this because Mushoku does this too. Revisionist history. So is that implying the idea that people wrote that Envy, because she's so evil, everybody hates Envy, hates her, hates Satella. Does that mean that because technically Echidna went off and they went in that sanctuary, that people assumed the reason why the witches disappeared, even though it was that they went there, that they just blamed Satella? Well, the witches disappeared, so obviously Envy sealed them away, right? Well, they were there. Well, I mean, obviously the question mark is there is why were they hiding in there? Originally, why Satella went there is that she was hiding away from it was the Hector guy, or at least they were there hidden for a while, and then suddenly Hector showed up, and he was from he was like somebody within the same family that Roswaal was, because it seemed like they looked similar. They were very similar. They're both mages. They had the same attire, so I'm assuming they're the same family. But he showed up at some point, what came to attack them, and that's when Echidna said, "We ain't got any time left. I mean, we need to hold them off. We don't have a core yet." And that's when Ryuzu, I think it was, she offered herself to be the core of the ceiling. But it seems like she's been staying there. Not that they were sealed away. So I guess that's my question mark, is I'm not really sure. I guess it's the chicken and egg situation. Like, did they write the stories that Envy sealed them away, or before, after she hid away in the sanctuary? They never really got into details of why she was hiding in the sanctuary. I know she was trying to figure out how to make herself immortal, but I don't think they ever got into why Hector came there to attack them. Maybe they did. I forget exactly what he said when he showed up.
Well, I still think it's interesting as an idea of... I still think it's interesting in the idea of whether or not there is two different characters. I'm still
for
wondering...
Echidna, or...
Yeah, is Echidna... No. Is Satella different than the Witch of Envy?
Oh,
okay. Is Satella actually... is Emilia actually Satella? All these different aspects of... Because I still love the idea of each one of these characters being a balanced character. I think that there is this aspect of, is Emilia actually Satella, but Satella is the offset to the innocence of her. She has to have that envy involved in her, just like Echidna. Echidna doesn't really present greed until there's something that she wants, and then suddenly you see the other side of her.
I mean, yeah, she's literally giving him body liquid tea, and
yeah, she's very, very generous with all of her,
and giving him information and everything. And then suddenly, when there's something that she wants, which is to really kind of dig into what he is and his power, that's when she got crazy.
Yeah,
but until then, she was giving him. She never asked for anything that entire time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the very end. You know, I want to help you out. Okay, what's the cost? Oh, okay, now we're getting to this. So you could argue that entire thing is her trying to manipulate him to the point where she'll be able to get what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, she was, for the most part, pretty chill. For the most part, pretty chill.
I really like the idea of, because I think that she actually really did want him as her knight. Or her archbishop, whatever it was. She wanted to sign a contract. I think that the only thing that really kind of saved him is that technically,
that's the question. Do they make the archbishops?
That's my other question. Well, and that's what I was implying when I was talking about the scriptures, because I think the scriptures are what are making the archbishops. I think that that's where it's coming in. And I do think that they're being manipulated into something that they're not. So I think that is because I don't think that the archbishops are reflecting the characters that they're implying. I really kind of want to.
Yeah, I don't think they're directly at all.
Yeah.
They couldn't be. I mean, Sloth is so much different than what Petelgeuse was.
Mm-hmm.
Sloth was so super chill in that room, and it's like Petelgeuse was just hyper, like super hyper. I gotta find this.
Because I want to say that at some point they implied
I think somebody is channeling their power.
Elsa,
the gut whipper.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I think that they were implying that she was. I want to say that they were implying that she was lust, and she does not reflect lust at all.
Who said? Did somebody imply that? Yeah, I don't think we've ever really had anybody mention an Archbishop of Lust. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. But yeah, again, you're bringing up the question mark I had a while back. Is just what makes the Archbishops? And my assumption that I really have is my current like very surface level theory here. Like this is probably the easiest theory to go based off of, just based on what's been shown, is that the Witch of Vanity, Pandora, she is essentially. She could possibly know or have done it herself, sealed them away. Again, it could be the idea that that door is technically where all the witches are sealed away and she was trying to release them. Or it could be simply that her or whoever is running the organization of the archbishops, the witches cult, they have a way of drawing their power. So the witches are sealed away and they're just drawing out their power to use it with their archbishops. So they can't control all the witches, but they know how to siphon their power, and so they're either sealed away by their cause, or they know where they're sealed away and they're able to draw their power, and they're giving it to the archbishops that they can control. So that's kind of, it's sort of like an hourglass kind of concept here, is the witches are here, here's this lock, and they're funneling it into who they can control. And that's what we're kind of getting about the characters. They're not going to have a direct connection, but yeah, they can probably get their strength from it. I don't know, because it feels like we haven't got an indication that their power is similar in any way, I guess. Like, I don't see a similarity in Minerva and the Archbishop of Wrath. I obviously see some sort of similarity with Gluttony and the actual Gluttony, the Archbishop of Gluttony, but again, they haven't indicated that Gluttony liked to eat memories. But yet, the Archbishop Gluttony is obviously eating people's memories, finds it very tasty, doesn't eat people and consume them, just eats their memories. And then Sloth. Yes, he was using the unseen eyes or arms to move things, and he talked a lot about not moving around, being very slothful, but what about that power would indicate? I guess, again, the arms, that them not themselves moving is sort of an indication there, but I don't know. It's super fascinating. But again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's super fascinating that we're 3 seasons in now, and there's so many freaking questions.
Yeah.
It does kind of make you wonder at what point they're going to finally kind of pull that curtain back and say, yeah, where are the witches? And yes, who's running the archbishops? And what is the witches cult? And why do they hate Emilia so freaking much? And that could be the idea that Emilia, again, to what you were saying earlier, if Emilia is technically physically, I mean, we've shown that she is a key, but is she the door? Is it simply that she needs to open that door in her own mind and all the witches are free? And that's why the witches cult doesn't like her, is because she can set them all free. And they don't want them free because they're siphoning their power or whatever. So I think that's a bigger question mark, is really what the archbishops have against her. And again, based on Regulus now coming after her, of course, they haven't really indicated why he's even there, but why haven't they come and got her yet? Like, why hasn't Pandora tried at Emilia since then? Was it because Puck? Was it because Emilia was being protected by Puck? Why has Pandora, after making such a pushback here, why has she yet to come back to see Emilia since then? Because, I mean, they came in there full-on battle with Fortuna and Petelgeuse. She just left. Does she not know that she... I mean, she should know by now that she was released. So many questions. So many freaking questions. I love it. I love the series for that. So I think we covered everything. We can probably come back here once Chris gets caught up on the current season, because there's even more to talk about in just these last. Technically, you could probably argue 6 episodes. We've technically gotten like 6 episodes already.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like you can probably splice up that first episode into 4 episodes, and then you have 2 more episodes after that, and then we only have technically 5 more episodes this year, and then it's over. They're only going 8 episodes this season.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're doing 8 episodes, and they're gonna stop, and they're gonna come back in February. So. Nice. Thankfully, that means I don't have to worry about it in the anime of the year for this year. There's like a nice thing. I mean, that's like Orb on the Movement of Earth. Like right now, the first 3 episodes, like holy crap, that show is so freaking good. Thankfully, it's 2 core, so I don't have to worry about it for this year. I don't have to worry about any more things being fighting against, Frerin and all that other crap. That's going to be super difficult to endanger my heart season 2. But anyways. I think that'll do it for our ReZero talk. I can jab on it. Again, that's kind of a tribute to this story. Like I said, rewatching it was like it reminded me how much I love this series. It's a tribute to how much I love this one and not how much I love Mushoku Tensei. These 2 stories, I can blab on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I want Puck. I need Puck back. I think that's been like the biggest oof is not having Puck around. Hope we'll get Puck back. But anyways, that's our ReZero chat. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. Again, I request 2 things of people. 1, please don't leave a comment saying who is Rem. Can we try? The joke has been beat to death at this point. For how many years now? 5 years now? I think it's been 5 years, and we're still doing that joke? Can we please let the joke die? Second request. No spoilers. Everything we talked about, we don't need answers. We're just having fun. We're just discussing. We're speculating. We don't need a bunch of spoilers in the comments. If you're anime only, do not read the comments. I can assure you it's going to be a minefield of people that will not hear me when I say don't post spoilers, because people, they hear a question mark and they go, send. And then later on when they hear me go, by the way, I don't need answers to that, they'll go,
oh well, there's 2 types. There is the ones that are actually pretty cool. We do have a lot of people in our community that are pretty cool about that.
We have the lip biters where they go, I want to say something so bad. And then you have the guys that just the whole like I don't need answers just kind of goes one ear out the other, and then the moment you say something else, they're like, they're the I'm bestowing wisdom. There's the bestowers of wisdoms. They're the ones that go, I have all the knowledge and I'm ready for the questions. You don't want an answer to this? Too bad. I will bestow the knowledge.
No,
to you.
Okay. There's those people, but there's the other ones who are the correctors.
Oh yeah,
let me fix you about this.
The actualies. Actually, Roswaal. Actually, the witches aren't actually sealed away. Actually, they've never been sealed away. They're always been present. They're the archbishops physically. They'll just lay out things like super casually, like, oh, we've always known this. It's common knowledge, people. Yeah. It's common knowledge. It's literally the way they almost speak. It's just like, we all know this. No, you know it because you read it. We don't know this yet. It's so matter of factly is the way they kind of put it. So, anyways, that's all to say. Thank you guys for watching, listening, whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed this ReZero talk. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, make sure to hit the like button on YouTube if you're there. Give us a rating on your podcast choice. All that good jazz. But if you want to support us more, talkaspirit.com is where all of our links are there. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it, everybody. I forgot the every part in there. Y'all take care.
Os.